YouTube, LJ Draco here. So yes, today I'm doing, as you can tell by the title, I'm doing a horror tag. Now this was started recently by my fiancée Alice, as you guys know. She did her video, but she was too nervous to tag anybody because it was the first tag she had created. So she didn't know who to tag, so she just said anyone who was welcome to join could join. Now, I'm going to tag 3 people, but I'm also going to welcome anyone who wants to take part of this tag. So anyone who I've not tagged, you can still do it. The best thing that you can do, and I'll say this now because she said she forgot to mention this on her video. When you've done your tag video, don't link it into my description. Link it into Alice's description in her channel, because she wants to see everyone's responses, and so do I, so we can watch them together through her links. So her channel link will be in the description below, underneath these questions you need to answer, and then all you got to do is go to her channel, find her tag video, and just link your videos into her description of that video. So it is a horror tag, and I've done one of these before, and I like these horror tags. This one, it has 10 questions. And they each get just as exciting as the other. So let's start. First question is, what is the first horror movie you remember watching? First horror movie I ever remember watching was when I was quite young. I think I was about 3 or 4. And that was Return of the Living Dead. What a very, very weird movie to watch at such a young age. It was just a fantastic movie for me. I really enjoyed it. I can't remember what it was that I liked about it. I can't remember if it was the really cool, I mean at the time, really cool looking zombie effects. Was it the nice looking woman dancing in the graveyard? Who knows? I was only 3 or 4, but at the time it still looked good. But on the aspect of when watching the whole film, I was really invested in the story. I thought it was quite interesting. Especially there's a scene, no, it's not really a spoiler alert, so it doesn't really give anything away, but there is a scene where these guys are in this mini warehouse thing, and there's this little statue of like half a dog. Do you know what they use for surgeries and operations? Like they use these little statues that show like half of an animal or half of a human, but then shows the insides of the organs. Well, it was like a little statue of that, like a dead dog that was stuffed and kind of used for that purpose. And it's wrapped up in this cling film thing, and the dog starts kind of barking with the half of its mouth, and it's and I was like, whoa, that's pretty creepy. But it was enjoyable. And then you had the other zombies. Literally after watching that, I also watched Return of the Living Dead 2, which has my favorite scene in any horror movie, which is the "get the dang screwdriver out of my head." I love that scene. It's incredible. Question number 2. What is your favorite horror movie? This one was very, okay. This one was very challenging because I have a top 5 list, and in all 5 of these movies are absolutely incredible, incredible movies. But, my original answer was going to be The Descent. Because that movie has so much that I need to really get into. Really, really need to get into. But I would have to say that my favourite horror movie is Hellraiser. And the reason why Hellraiser happens to be my favourite horror movie as of to date is just because that movie offered something so different. It wasn't your typical hack and slash. It wasn't your typical... Well, okay, it was mystic power bullshit, but it weren't your over-the-top mystical power. This was about a device that actually opened a gateway to hell. And watching that from a young age growing up was really interesting. The fact that some of these people, the guardians of the gates, they looked kind of human to some degree, but they were obviously not. I also think Hellraiser has one of the best lines in that with Pinhead. He has one of the best lines in that movie, which is the "will tear your soul apart." That's so cool. Give a shit, that was amazing. But it was just very well shot, very well directed, and Clive Barker, man. He is a twisted son of a gun, but it's good. So yeah, Hellraiser for me, it has to be my number one now. Question number 3. What is your favourite horror movie genre? Now this confused me, because I was under the impression that horror was the genre, but then it turns out it means like sub-genres. So, is it like psychological thriller, thriller mystery, horror thriller? It's like that. So, for me, I'm going to have to kind of back up Alice on this one, and I'm going to have to go with psychological thriller horrors. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. There's like those little wishes from outside. They keep blowing in through our windows and keep tickling my nose. I think I'm good. But yeah, psychological thrillers for me, I mean, there's nothing more terrifying than the fact that your brain can deceive you. I mean, when you think about it, you know, that's the most terrifying thing, is that your brain has so much power over you, and when that starts to default, it can fudge up your whole life. So stuff like Shutter Island, technically in some way, Sucker Punch is still a psychological thriller. It's a sci-fi, but it is a psychological thriller. Unsane, Gothica, stuff like that. It makes you think like, oh crap, this is actually quite twisted. This is quite serious. So yeah, for me it has to be that, psychological thriller. Question 4. What horror movie genre scares you the most? Oh, no. Right, yeah, okay. So, psychological thriller, I was about to say psychological thriller, but no. Psychological thriller is my favourite. What scares me the most is horror movies based on true events. Why does that scare me? For the obvious fact of they're based on true events. They've happened. Right? It's different when you're watching certain films like Saw or Hellraiser. You can go, oh wow, you know, the story's amazing. This director had a really intelligent brain and oh, very creative. No, you can't do that based on true events, because they're taking stories from the people it happened to and putting it on the big screen, which means what I'm seeing has happened to someone at some point. That's terrifying. Highly terrifying. There's already so much evil in this world without knowing that it does exist in this form as well. So yeah, so that terrifies me. Question 5. What is the last horror movie that scared you? Darkness Falls. That movie shook me up like a bitch. Darkness Falls got me. And that's not even one that's based on a true horror. But it's the last horror movie I remember watching and my heart feeling like it jumped out of my ass. Well, actually, I just remembered, it's not a horror, it's a psychological thriller. But it did scare me because it was unexpected. But I'm talking about like proper fear. Darkness Falls. Quick spoiler alert. So when you see me do this as you're skipping, you know that I've obviously stopped talking about it. But in Darkness Falls, there's a scene where the child and the parents in the bathroom, and they've got the light on in there, but you can hear the noise. You can hear the... And as it cuts to the outside of the bathroom, you see the Tooth Fairy above the door going... So I was like... And the bit in the mirror. Alright, screw it. Okay, so... Welcome back to those who had to skip. Right, so question 6. Ultimate horror movie Scream. Yeah, okay, I would have gone with Alice's answer on this, which if you want to know her answer for this, you'll have to check out her video, but for me, I'm going to have to go with The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. Because nothing beats, not the bees, not the bees, my eyes, my eyes. See, even the seagull thought it was funny. Oh, it's the ultimate movie Scream. Okay, I'll tell you what, if we've got to be serious about best movie screams, I'd say it'd have to be like silent screams, which people don't think are true. And the best thing I could think of a silent scream is basically any movie from the late 50s and 60s. It's when they don't get a chance to actually go, ah! But it's when they're so scared they can't scream, but they are. So it's like, because that's more terrifying. The fact that you're so afraid that your natural defense system don't work. Because why does our natural defenses tell us to scream? It's to get people to try and help. So our natural defense is you get attacked, you let out a loud noise, and people go, oh, someone's in trouble. So when you're in that situation and you need someone to help you and you go, but you can't make a noise, that's more terrifying. Okay, question 7. A concept you'd like to see in a horror movie. Ooh, okay, so concept. Hope I get this right, because I'm dumb as hell. I guess a concept that I'd like to see in a horror movie is something that hasn't been done before. We've seen horror movies based on real life events. We've seen horror movies based on thin air. We've seen horror movies based on board games. We've seen horror-based movies on water, fire, everything like that. But I'd like to see a horror movie based on just life. Like, no monsters, no scary out of space beings, no people walking around in masks. I want to see the horror of natural death. Now, if that sounds sadistic, it's probably because it is. But what I mean by this, what I mean by this answer is, I want to see a horror movie about following different people's stories, about natural deaths, how scary those can be, how they can hit you at any moment, how they can affect people. And I know that sounds like, well, you can't really have a horror movie based on that, but you can, because natural deaths can be terrifying. Illnesses, body malfunctions, they are terrifying experiences. So what's one horror that's going to mess with people's minds? It's seeing the thing that you know can possibly happen at any moment in time. That would be more terrifying. Question 8. Favorite horror movie on screen kill? Oh, my favorite movie kill for horrors. Ooh. Now that. I should have prepared better for this. I'm only doing this like as soon as it got sent to me. Alice sent me the better questions through Messenger so I could read it while talking to you guys. Best horror movie kill. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw 3D, I should say. Sorry for getting hopes up with all those people going, I love the scene where the girl in the film goes, do your thing, cuz, throws in the chainsaw and he just slashes the shit out of people. Sorry, amazing, family working together, can't go wrong. Number 9, favorite horror franchise. Okay, so here's how I'm going to base this. I'm going to talk about my least favorite horror franchise till I get to my best. So, Friday the 13th is a good franchise. Question is, not all the movies are good, and not quite a few of the movies are great. You've got 1 or 2 really good ones, but then you've got like 5 or 6 that are quite bad. But nothing will ever beat the original first movie, which even so is not Jason who is the killer, so the franchise shouldn't even have really been about him. Should have been more about his mother. You know, so that kind of sucks that we didn't get more about her properly. Halloween is the same. I love Halloween. I've heard Halloween 2, and if I remember correctly, it was a good sequel. But then a lot of the other movies failed, and, you know. Hellraiser's the same. Hellraiser 1, brilliant. Hellraiser 2, reasonable. 3 and upwards just got terrible. Whereas for me, Nightmare on Elm Street, I have enjoyed every single movie in the franchise, including the remake. The remake is a very big insult to the original, which I am fully aware of. So I'm not saying I like it because, oh, it's a remake. It still holds absolutely nothing on the original. The reason I like the remake is because you get to see a little bit more of Freddy Krueger's reaction to the parents attacking him for what he did. You know, we got to see how it was done, how he was thinking and feeling at the time it was doing. There wasn't just mini stories. And we got to learn more about what he actually did, the real things that he did, you know. So I appreciate that for what it gave. But yet again, I like Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was okay. I love Dream Warrior, and then I love all of them. And then my second favourite, well actually no, my first favourite is Wes Craven's New Nightmare, because that's so close to realism, it's dangerous. So for me, yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street is my favourite horror franchise. Now number 10, favourite horror creator or director? Clive Barker. Most people would say John Carpenter, most people would say Stephen King, you know, but for me personally, Clive Barker takes the crown, because John Carpenter does horror, but he does teenage, high school, kind of mystic people, like, so for example, Michael Myers, the so psychotic doesn't die like Rasputin type, or from what I've heard, for example, The Ward, psychological. I heard he also done a thing called Christina about a haunted car. Wes Craven, he did like monstrous things like from your dreams, but yet a lot of his horror films are quite comedic as well as dark. So Nightmare on Elm Street, hilariously dark. I think Wes Craven did The Crow, which I've also heard was quite comedic and dark at the same time. Whereas Clive Barker, and if you watch Hellraiser, there's really no comedy. It's just twisted mindfuck. And, I mean, there's something about, there's something that's, I've got to see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here, I'll read this. Stephen King was once famously quoted as saying, "I have seen the future of horror. His name is Clive Barker. The future was realized in 1987 with the release of Barker's directorial debut, Hellraiser." Now, for Stephen King to say that, that proves my theory on why Clive Barker deserves the crown. It's just amazing. Stephen King's the same. He does quite comedic horrors. He does really good. All of these people do fantastic movies. I have no faults with any of them. But for me personally, Hellraiser is so well done, so terrifyingly enjoyable, it just puts itself above all others. So for me, yeah, Clive Barker. So anyway, that is the end of the tag. So what I'll do is I will put these questions into the description below along with Alice's channel. And like I said, I'm not going to say names because I need to recheck people's names of channels that I'm tagging. I already know one person. I know that if she's watching this, she already knows she's going to be tagged. But I'm going to tag 3 people. So all 3 of your names I'll put above the questions as tagged. But anyone who I haven't tagged, you are still free enough to join in, do your own videos. But I will stress this again very quickly. Do not put links to your video tags in my description. Go and follow Alice's channel link in the description. Go to her channel, go to her tag video, and put the links in her tag box. So I can then watch them with her, and we can watch them together. That is it. That is the end of this video. I do hope you enjoy my videos and previous videos. If you do like this channel, just show some support. I do really appreciate all the support I have been shown already. And I hope you enjoyed. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.